with their backs against the wall. Since we have a nice, intimate sized group here tonight, I thought maybe we could try hearing any questions you have about Krishna, Rama, applying the bhakti process in everyday life. In the Bhagavatam, we find that questions are glorified. I often like to point this out. It's not simply the answers that we are seeking. Bhagavatam is about questions that are first class and answers that are first class. So normally we think, just give me the right answer, that's all I need. But Pritchett Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam is showing you that good questions stimulate the speaker, and that way the answers become sweeter. So the Bhagavatam process of questioning and answering is not just like some ordinary process of how, what, where, when, and why. Just factual information, that's all. Just give me the facts. That's all I want. Like some investigative police officer. I just want to know the facts. Bhagavatam is about flavor, rasa. So the questions are not simply informational that Pritchett Maharaj asked. They're stirring the ocean of nectar. And that encourages Shukadeva Goswami, who congratulates Pritchett Maharaj for asking such questions that lead to deeper tastes in bhakti. Sometimes Pritchett Maharaj asks questions to clear up potential misunderstandings about Krishna. Other times he's asking questions even though he knows the answer, but he wants to stir the ocean of rasa. He wants to bring out the sweetness more. So there's information, that's one aspect, and then there is the sweetness, that's another aspect. Srimad Bhagavatam is a rasa shastra. It's a shastra of the ocean of loving flavors in association directly with Krishna. You may know that Sanatana Goswami in his Krishna Lila Stava speaks 5 verses glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam as his dear friend, his life and soul. And he says that every syllable of Srimad Bhagavatam is saturated with Krishna Prema. Every syllable. Even though we may not be able to see that immediately when we read verses about dynasties and subject matter that we think, well, it's not so ecstatic. But Sanatana Goswami says, no, every syllable of Srimad Bhagavatam is saturated with Krishna Prema. And as we become more advanced, we'll see that. Questions in bhakti are of 2 types. Questions about what will accelerate your spiritual progress, and questions about what will impede or block your spiritual progress. How to apply Krishna's instructions. Of course, one has to know what are Krishna's instructions. How do we live a life in a temporary material body in a temporary material world? How do we live a spiritual life? You all are working in New York City. Maybe sometimes you feel, will I ever be truly spiritual? work pressures are so great, the family pressures are so great. Maybe sometimes you feel that, maybe I should just give up. I accept what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, but maybe only a very few can apply it. The fortunate few. Maybe when I'm in my 60s and 70s after I retire, then I can apply it. When the children are all grown up. When the husband and wife have their relationship all sorted out after 20 or 30 years. Then it'll be easy. So, any questions? Yes.
Maharaj, can I ask you a question?
Yes, we want questions.
Next week we're gonna have some retreat in Gitanagari.
Oh.
And concerning this, I have a question. All of us know that it's a holy place, Gitanagari, and I wanted you to, if you can tell us how can we avoid some apparatus, dharma apparatus in Gitanagari. What are the precautions we could take so we could stay there really apparat free?
Realize that everything there is for the pleasure of Shri Radha Damodar. It's their land, their cows. So the more you gather there for the pleasure of Shri Radha Damodar, the more you'll feel their presence. Yes, it is more peaceful being there than instead of the city. But more than peace, there is the sweetness of Radha Damodar. So you want to try to experience that. That sweetness pervades all of Gitanagari. All the agricultural activities there, the construction activities, are all meant for the pleasure of Shri Radha Damodar. When's the last time you were there?
Last summer.
And you'll see some changes. You'll see some new developments. So try to see the whole operation, the whole project, as existing for the pleasure of the deities. And then the deities will give you the vision to see what's going on, and how their sweetness pervades everywhere. Many devotees report such fascinating experiences with Shri Radha Damodar. So that's the first advice I can give. How long will you be there for?
3 days, but 2 nights.
And of course, appreciate the milk products straight from the cows. Intoxicating, isn't it? The fresh air. But always think this fresh air is the deity's mercy. Don't see the grass, the air, the water as separate from the deity's mercy. They are the proprietors. So yes, please go there as much as possible. As devotees, you'll be experiencing it differently than when the university students come there, sent by their schools. They spend a week there. Of course, they're doing lots of service. They all report. I've seen their feedback sessions, videos of their feedback sessions before they leave. When they first come, they're so jittery and uptight. Because, USA is a very competitive place. swim or sink. Nothing in between. Survival of the fittest and the fastest, and who can pretend to be the smartest. I notice how here in New York City, when people are walking down the street, and I saw several times today, they talk, they may greet someone they know, but over their shoulder as they keep walking. You notice that also? It's because everyone's in the rush, right? Always, right?
Yeah.
They don't break step at all. Just turn their head over their shoulder. I keep walking and say a few more words, but they keep walking. They don't diminish their speed.
I think devotees also kind of sometimes in the same mood.
Yeah, well, of course, devotees get affected by the material atmosphere to varying degrees. So it was very noticeable to me. Of course, I grew up in New York, but I've been all over the world, and so coming back to New York is very interesting. I used to love the surge of busyness and passion. I used to love it. In fact, my only small doubt, not really a doubt, but I couldn't understand it, my perplexity about something Srila Prabhupada said when I was becoming a new devotee, the end of 72. My only confusion was why he would criticize New York. The center of the universe, the Tirtha. He would say, oh, it's a dirty place, it's a noisy place. And I thought, this is the greatest place in the universe. But now, returning, of course, I'm quite a few months a year. I'm based in New Zealand, which is totally the opposite. Lots of grass and cows and fresh air. But, of course, there's no paradise in the material world. When I go to the Russian festival years ago, oh, maybe 20 years ago, I would land in Moscow or St. Petersburg with my American passport. So the guy at the immigration would, But for 20 years I've been using my New Zealand passport, and then, oh, he calls all the other immigration agents over. We would love to go there. Can you tell us how? It's quite different from New York, but nowhere is paradise in this material world. So even in New Zealand, they were shocked when they had that terrorist attack. They were shocked. It's just never happened in their country. So when you go to Gita Nagari, look for more than peace. Look for sweetness. Sweetness in terms of hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, seeing the deities, seeing everything connected to the deity's pleasure. Take prasad to your full satisfaction. How many will go?
It's around like 40 people.
Oh, very nice. Yes.
Some people from Canada as well. Come.
Where is this place?
It's in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
It's
It's a farm.
no
I'm
farm.
gonna
Yeah,
be
it's a
there
farm.
the next weekend. I mean, upcoming weekend. Are you gonna be, or you're still here?
No, I'll
Yeah,
be
tomorrow
in Atlanta. I go from here to Atlanta. I won't be there, unfortunately. I'm sure it'll be taken care of nicely. Yes?
I had a question about quality of sound.
Very important.
it seems to me that there's different qualities of sound. Like in this world, there's like very refined sound, and then there's very crude sound. And you can notice that in the music, especially, you know, when you listen to classical music and rap music, there's no different. One is more sophisticated, more like complex. So I would assume that in the spiritual sound vibration, it would be the same as far as levels of quality. I guess what I'm trying to ask is like the pure sound compared to a sound that's not so pure. Like if I have a parrot, I can train him to talk, but the parrot is not understanding what he's saying. So, but a human being can understand what the language is he's talking. So it seems to me in spiritual sound vibration, there's different qualities of quality of sound. So there's like very, very like I notice like when I'm on YouTube and I watch the master chanting, there's this, I don't know, maybe it's just in my mind, but I notice that the quality of his vibration is very strong, very strong. And then I hear some other person singing or chanting, and I don't feel it as strong.
Yes,
So-
they're great. There are different gradations of intensity in loving Krishna.
Yeah.
So when Prabhupada chants, it's not so much the musicality of it; it's
No,
the
no,
purity of
Yeah.
the consciousness.
Yeah. The voice.
So spiritual sound is, it depends on
on the
our
person.
purity
Right.
more than anything else. Of course, still is a fact that all artistry actually comes from Krishna. Krishna is the supreme artist.
Yeah.
That's why he always carries a flute. You know why? Why? Specifically why he carries a flute?
That's how he moves everybody.
More than that, he's showing you that he is all play and no work. He never has to work for his pleasure. That's what the flute means. You couldn't do that, right? Just play the flute all day. You have to work, right?
Yeah.
But Krishna never works, and so he holds the flute to let you know, I never work for my pleasure. That is the Supreme Personality of God. Yes.
Maharaj, I have some kind of related question to Prabhu's. I recall in Skanda Purana there is interesting passage describing, I believe, 8 types of Srimad Bhagavatam listeners. So this one like swan-like, or chataka bird-like, or bull or camel one. So it seems like from one side there is a required qualification to, comprehend, to accept Srimad Bhagavatam, means on my own effort, my own observation or acceptance. Yet at the same time, we understand that Krishna's mercy is coming on its own. So my question is, how we can actually, get this special mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna, it's scripture personified, it's Krishna himself. So how to get into this very rasa of Srimad Bhagavatam?
Number one,
Yeah.
hear and chant Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. That's Lord Kapila Dev's advice. Prasan,
Satam prasangan mamaye.
Mavirya Sambhado, Bhavanti, Karna, Rasayana Kata. Rasayana Kata, the Kata, the talks about Krishna have more rasa, more flavor when you discuss them amongst sincere devotees. Satam Prasangam Mavirya Sambhado. This is a subject I was going to speak about tonight. Why we need devotees. Not simply because they come from the same part of the world we do, or that's nice, but more than that, in their association, if they're sincere, the flavor you get from chanting Hare Krishna and talking about Krishna is sweeter and more powerful. So that's a very important reason why we need the association of devotees. What else were you asking?
Yeah, like how to interact this special mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam so it would be revealed to us.
So number one, hear and chant amongst sincere devotees who are dedicated to applying Bhagavatam in their life, making Bhagavatam the center of their life. And the other thing is distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Krishna says, Nachatasma manusheshu kaschin me priyakritama. No one is more dear, nor will there ever be one more dear than the one who spreads my glories to others. So by serving Bhagavatam, in distributing it to others, you get a taste for Bhagavatam. And of course, the Bhagavatam itself says, Vasudeva Kataruchi. San Mahat Sevayavapa. By rendering service to the great soul, you get a taste for the message of Vasudeva. Kataruchi, you get ruchi, you get the taste. And we're followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, who order us that wherever we go, whomever we meet, distribute the science of Krishna. So if you're busy giving Krishna to others, certainly Krishna will give himself to you. It's not that you're giving opportunity to everyone else to go back to Godhead, but you will not go. So those two things especially, hearing and chanting Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees, and distributing Srimad Bhagavatam to others. In that way, the talks about Krishna become more powerful. So if you're always making plans to do that, then you're making spiritual advancement. You're working, you have families. Yes, everyone here works and has a family. That's all right, but the center should be the crown jewel of your family and work life should be hearing and chanting about Krishna, distributing Krishna's glories. Then you're rightly situated. And that kind of approach will keep you from being ground up into powder in the big city. New York City has a tendency to grind people into powder. It's just on and on and on and on and on and on. Relentless, just no stop, just on. Push, 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 drive, drive, drive. You can't slow down or else you lose your place in the race, right?
Yeah.
And what happens if you lose your place in the race? Not only do you lose the race, you don't even come in second or third, but what if you stumble and fall? Then what happens? Not only are you out of the race, but everyone tramples over you. Horrible, right? So you have to feel all the time, I gotta go. I gotta keep pushing, keep harder, harder, more.
And one gets all the dust from their lotus bare feet, not lotus feet on their his hand.
So there's so much pressure in this city. Just day after day. That's why it's good for you all to go to Kitanagari, because somehow you can switch off, you know?
Yeah.
The land, the cows, Radha Damodar, fresh air, fresh water, wonderful prasad. Just reevaluate your life. Put yourself under a microscope and analyze, what am I doing and why? Does life have to be so complicated? Or, okay, my life has to be like this complicated life, but let me see if I can put Krishna more in the center. Because you all have careers, you need to be competitive in the job market. Just like you were telling me about your career with MTA. First he started with construction. First he was a counselor in a summer camp. Then he moved into construction. And then the MTA, repairing the subway trains. Then you have to move up in seniority.
Yeah.
He started at the bottom, now he's at the middle. How many more years to get to the top? 10 more years?
15.
15 more years. It's always chasing the carrot,
Right.
you know? They tell you want the more selective jobs, then you stick around.
Yeah.
You jump ship, then I know. One flight attendant in Australia, she had put in like 25 years as a flight attendant for an airlines. And she was 2 months short of retirement. And then the airline went bankrupt. So, yes, she was hired by another airline immediately, but what does that mean?
No retirement, no pension.
Not only that, but what else?
She lost all that time in the other company,
Meaning?
that she's not gonna have any retirement.
No, but more than that. That's true, but what else? No seniority. She's down at the bottom.
Right.
She's starting like a beginner, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, she was in her 50s and now she's down at the bottom like she was, you know, starting out. New recruit in their 20s, you know? It's very painful, yeah?
And she had a hard time to compete with other young.
Yes. The other young ones got full of energy, and here she is 2 months short of retirement in her 50s, and now she has to be at a new company and start way at the bottom and compete with the young ones. And it's tough. Without being Krishna conscious, how can someone handle all that? You'd be crushed. So these are the realities of material existence. Yes?
I had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I know you can't really understand like the spiritual things because we're coming from an intellect type of platform, but I was reading about love and separation.
Elevated topic.
That it's considered to be the highest thing compared to the other types of love, you know, friend and all these other things. But why is that considered the highest thing?
This is explained by Krishna. I'll talk about this more tomorrow at the Bhakti Center. Krishna explains himself that if you're poor all your life, and then you get some money, and then you lose that money, you never stop thinking about it. So Krishna is telling his dearmost devotees, the gopis, he's telling them, I know what I'm doing by separating from you. It's to increase your love. Increase the intensity of the love. And in those feelings of separation, Krishna is present more. That's the mystery of Vrindavan. We'll talk about that tomorrow in relation to Sita Ram. It's more easy to understand in terms of Sita Ram than Vrindavan Leela. Vrindavan Leela, you can make the mistake of thinking, oh, I know what that's all about. Girlfriend, boyfriends, yeah. Whereas in Ram Leela, Lord Ramchandra is married to Sita Devi. So it's easier to immediately understand. There's an expression in English, maybe you have it in your native language. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. You have it in your language, you have an expression?
Well, my language is English. So
Okay.
I totally, yeah, I've heard that expression, yeah.
You've heard it? Yes?
I heard it, but I didn't really go into the meaning.
Yes.
What is it?
When something that's dear to you goes away, you think about it all the time.
Yeah.
One of my godbrothers, Borijan Prabhu, who's been married for 35 years or more. Whenever he's giving advice to new grihastas, he tells them, start planning how much time you're going to spend apart from each other. Because then you have some gap, some space to redevelop appreciation, rather than being in each other's face all the time, getting very familiar. Oh, you. Then you go away for a week or so, and actually the person's not so bad. You have experience? Do married men have
Yeah,
experience?
yeah. That's totally true.
That's why she's at home right now.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
experiencing right now because I have been in New York for the past 4 weeks now.
Uh-huh.
I have come from India,
Where?
Pune.
Pune. Mm-hmm.
So my family is there, but I have come on an official trip.
Mm.
So this is my 5th week.
So now you're missing your family, yes?
Yeah.
Whereas at first you thought, get a break, yes. Yes, human nature is like that. Because Krishna is the source of all our different natures. Mm. So we'll discuss this more about Ramchandra and Sita tomorrow. Because ordinarily it would seem that Ramchandra mistreated Sita, right? He separated from her when she was expecting his 2 sons. Just because of overhearing some gossip from some low-class person in the kingdom. You know? You know that? You know? No? Yes. Yes. So sometimes people who don't understand, not only do they criticize Krishna, they also criticize Ram. How could you do that? You leave your wife when she's expecting. Krishna's pastimes are much more challenging. Ram was formally married with Sita, whereas Krishna, he's formally married with the queens of Dwarka, but not with gopi girls in Vrindavan. That's why in India, they often refer to Krishna very loosely, as very inappropriately, as the Hindu forest love god. You've heard that? Of course, everything is Krishna's energy. There's only one enjoyer, that is Krishna. Everyone else is meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Anything else? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's get another question.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know, like as devotees, sometimes we tend to think about, you know, unique superior position of Radha Krishna, and at the same time underestimate of other Leela avatars and other pastimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I even heard that some devotees would say, "Oh, I never go to Mayapur even. Only Vrindavan,
Ooh.
only Vrindavan, only this." You know, like.
That's ignorance.
So-
What does Narottam Das Thakur say? You tell them, right? Goramandala Bhumi, Jebachin Tamini, Mayapur Dham, Navadvip Dham, that's hidden Vrindavan, Gupta Vraj. If you don't see Vrindavan in Mayapur and Navadvip, you won't see it when you go to Boma Vrindavan. That's the mystery of Lord Chaitanya and Radha Krishna. So if you're seeing Mayapur as another category than Vrindavan, there's transcendental differences, but still, Mayapur is Gupta Vraj, hidden Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, Krishna's Madhurya, his sweetness predominates. In Mayapur, Navadvip, his mercy, his compassion predominates. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Lord Chaitanya is Radha Krishna combined. So it's an offense to see Radha and Krishna as separate from Lord Chaitanya, or Lord Chaitanya as separate from Radha and Krishna. They are both the original personality of Godhead. Did you know that? Lord Chaitanya is actually not an avatar. He's avatari, just like Krishna. They both have their sections of the top, on the topmost planet in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. We say loosely golden avatar, but actually Lord Chaitanya is not an expansion of Krishna. He's not an incarnation of Krishna. We say loosely Namo Mahabharinaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gorsi. More merciful than any other avatar. But Lord Chaitanya is actually avatari, just like Krishna is. This is the mystery of Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains it in this way. When Lord Chaitanya wants to be the enjoyer, he appears as Krishna. When Krishna wants to taste love of himself in separation, he appears as Lord Chaitanya. You can't separate one from the other. In Vrindavan, the Madhurya, the sweetness of Krishna's activities and form and flute playing and loving associates predominates. Mayapur Navadvip was also sweet, but it has a special flavor of Odarya, magnanimity. Just give it all away. Give all the Krishna Bhakti away freely. So one is Madhurya Dham, the other is Odarya Dham. But both are sweet, but they have their specialties. So we have to follow the acharyas. Narottam Das Thakur says. Goramandala Bhumi is hidden Vrindavan. As one becomes a genuinely advanced devotee, he or she may have their specialty. But it would be wrong for a neophyte to prematurely act like he or she has some specialty. And those, for example, who stay more in, those advanced devotees who stay more in Mayapur than Vrindavan, they are knowing that Mayapur is hidden Vrindavan. They don't make a material distinction. And those advanced devotees who stay more time in Vrindavan, they also know that Mayapur is hidden Vrindavan. They don't make an artificial material distinction. Oh, I like Vrindavan better. It's better for shopping. The pizzeria in Vrindavan is better than the one in Mayapur.
I heard once one devotee jokingly was singing Jai Radha, Jai Krishna, Jai Loy Bazar.
Mm. So your question about preferring what, Krishna Lila over other.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, like let's say tomorrow we celebrate Ram Navami, and some devotees may think that it's a secondarily important festival for us. And
It is not as important as Janmashtami or Gaur Purnima, but still, Lord Chaitanya celebrated Ram Navami. I'll speak about this tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me. The differences between Ram and Krishna. You see, no one can compare with Krishna in completeness. In fact, I should explain tomorrow, if you'll be there, that only when a demon's killed by Krishna does he get liberation. Even Nrsingadev or Ramchandra, when they kill a demon, not liberation. Yes, technical point that Rupa Goswami describes.
so that means they have to come back again.
Yes, I'll explain tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Anything else? Yes.
Like, as you told, like New York is really busy life and a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes you don't know how to set priorities. So you have job, you have family, you need to do some service, and also Srila Prabhupada books read, and maybe Mangalarati. Just there's so many things that you have to do that sometimes you don't know what is a priority, like your relationship with your daughter, or service, or rather read more Prabhupada books, like. So
Yes, that's why bhakti requires guidance. First priority has to be chanting your rounds. Give that the best attention. That's the first priority. Often in household life, the japa is sacrificed. But if you always keep as your number one priority, and it's a struggle, keep as your number one priority, trying to chant attentively, then everything else can properly follow from that priority. You may have to keep a record of your chanting, just to be aware of the trends, just to be aware of quality control. But yes, work must be there, child raising must be there. But if you push aside chanting of Hare Krishna, make your rounds very bad, or don't even do them at all, then you lose your vision to be able to see what is spiritual and material. And if you stop associating with devotees, you also lose your vision. It's very easy to be swallowed up in this city. That's why it's good. So many of you go to Kitanagari for a weekend. You can inspire one another and encourage one another. It's like I was asking you. Do you miss your home country? Maybe it's more personal. No. There's plenty of us here. But everyone who's been to Russian festival or Ukraine festival knows it's a special flavor. It's a different nature than Americans, especially New York. New York's like a special country in of itself.
Yeah.
Special tattva. New Yorkers know everything, they've seen everything, they understand everything, they have no time for anything. And you take pride, if you're a New Yorker, you take pride if you found a shortcut to get to work that shaves 30 seconds off the time. So good. Such time pressure, right?
Yeah.
You tell everyone, I found a shortcut. I found a side street to drive on. I got to work 60 seconds quicker. You feel so good because everything's competing. Race.
But what's good about New York, it keeps this like tonus of the, how they call it in English, like
Keep you in a good shape.
keeps you in a good shape.
You have to swim or you sink.
Yeah, and it's all applied to spiritual life as well. So comparing to material life, when you have to survive in the material life, you have to survive in spiritual life as well. It resembles somehow how we should, act in a spiritual life. We have to.
You have to be focused.
Yeah, we have to be focused and be in good shape
Yes.
all the time.
Yes,
Otherwise,
That's true.
you're gonna be losing.
That's true. Yes. I know in the past devotees who were from the New York area and then they went to California. And in the New York area they were very good devotees. But then they got to California, it was, everything is relaxed, everything is easy, California dreaming, nice weather every day. But their spiritual life went out the window. Because they were used to, being always on the cutting edge in New York. But when they got to California, they were just bewildered, like, Of course, California is a very expensive place. But it gives you the illusion of thinking, things are nicer. There's no snow, there's no cold weather. You still have to work hard. But it gives more illusion than New York.
Yeah, it's more illusory than
Yeah.
New York.
New York lets you know immediately. You're battling with a monster. Very good. Anything else?
But is it okay to be on the edge all the time?
Uh-huh.
Is it okay to be on the edge all the time? Because sometimes, I feel if I'm running, I'm not sinking, but all the time people around me tell them, maybe you're running away from something,
That's why, as I said, it's good to go to Kitanagar and chill out. Just step out of the race for a weekend. Yes. So you take advantage of that place in that way. Especially when you're around the cows, they'll make you calm down. That's what the students do when they come there. They're so on edge at first, but then they start embracing the cows, hugging the cows, and the cows change them. As Prabhupada writes in the first canto of Bhagavatam, you can develop dharma just by being around cows. They'll make you patient, tolerant. They'll get you to calm down, just be loving and affectionate. So it's become the biggest attraction for the students. The biggest attraction is the cows. First of all, they rarely see cows. And secondly, they've never been close to cows. They eat them, but they've never been close to them. But the cows transform them. Afterwards, they say, "How could I eat such a peaceful creature? What's wrong with me?" They have pictures taken of them when the cow is laying on the ground. The student is laying on the cow. Yes, the agricultural life is better for the human spirit, but in the city is where the money is.
Yeah.
You don't want to go back to a Ukrainian village or a Russian village. I just think about, oh my God. All right, good.
New York identity.
Yes. You've been here how long?
Around 6.
6 years. Originally from where?
Ukraine.
Where in Ukraine?
Dnipropetrovsk.
Ah.
You'll be there.
Yeah, yes, yes. I saw you there. But to see, although life in Ukraine is very difficult, so many devotees.
The remnants of the Vedic culture is still probably is affecting.
Mm.
Probably it's, something is left in our genes. And actually Ukrainian traditions somehow they resemble some Vedic tradition as well. So it's just probably really close to what we used to.
What I noticed the first time I went to Ukraine, in 98, 99, I noticed that the fruit and vegetables taste much better than other places. Oh, it's this special flavor. Much better. Especially compared to if you buy non-organic fruit in the USA, oh, it's got no taste whatsoever. Practically a waste of money. It's all shipped from Florida or California. But even the non-organic fruits and vegetables in Ukraine, they taste so sweet. Very potent. So every place has its strengths, and every place has its problems. There's no paradise in the material world. In Ukraine, you can eat very powerful, potent fruits and vegetables, but then the economic and political system is crazy. In USA, things seem to be more well organized, but you get some ordinary fruits and vegetables that aren't organic, and there's no taste whatsoever, no energy. Just like I have to, when I come to USA, I have to take all kinds of protein supplements because I'm used to food in Australia and New Zealand, which is much more potent, more powerful. So if I don't do that, otherwise after 2 weeks I start feeling. So it's good that you all are creating your Sangha, helping one another, inspiring one another. That's very good.
I actually have a question.
Mm.
So when devotees get to learn about the different stages of devotional advancement, and they come to the point of understanding anartha nivriti stage, when all the dirty stuff comes out of you, and facing all kind of obstacles, realizing that you're absolutely not a pure devotee. So sometimes devotees lose their hope, or are completely unaware of the process, how it works, and then I've seen it actually even myself. Sometimes I have such doubts, understand that like we have so many obstacles within ourselves, and there is no end to it. So my question is, how actually like, for example, like yourself, you've been a devotee in this lifetime for quite many years. So how one can actually surpass, overcome or go through, coming to the Nishta level and even above. How we can go through this in this less, painful experience, or at least understanding how it works.
What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter? Teshama ivanukam partam ahamagena jam tamaha nashyami atma bhavasto gena dipena rashmasa. Out of compassion, I within your heart will turn on the shining lamp of knowledge and dispel the ignorance. So seeing the dirt in the heart is the beginning of victory. Our problem is that we thought that I'm a pretty nice person, I've made good spiritual advancement. We're not aware of all these monsters in the heart. But then the Super Soul allows you to see, which is great that Krishna says, out of compassion, I'll let you see what's going on. And then Krishna will dispel it. But so many of us, we freak out when we see, oh my God, I thought I was making advancement. I thought I was a great soul. Not the greatest, but still a great soul. Right? I thought I was a humble devotee. So we freak out. Like, oh my God. Maybe the process doesn't work. It's like you're very dirty and you take a shower. And as you're taking the shower, you see all this dirt flying off of you, washing off of you. Do you jump out of the shower because you're freaked out? Oh my gosh, so much dirt was on me. Let me get out of the shower. Let me stay in the shower and become completely clean. Or another example I give is, what do you call in houses, old-fashioned houses, they have this room on the top. You have to go through the ceiling.
Attic.
Huh?
Attic.
Attic in English, yes. Yeah. So, generally people don't clean up there. So you may go up there and think, oh, it's very peaceful and calm here. But after 20 years, if you decide to clean, the dust, the whole air fills with dust. You choke and you're wondering, what is this? You thought everything is calm and peaceful, everything is in its place in the attic, but you never tried to clean there. So we have to understand the nature of the cleansing process. And of course, by taking shelter of Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, the cleaning process becomes successful. But you have to be aggressive about it. Use attacks from Maya as an opportunity to take more shelter of Krishna. Don't be discouraged. Just use such phases, such moments as a impetus to take more shelter of Krishna. You have to have a bit of a sporting attitude. Maya smashes you. You say, I'll get back at you. I'm going to chant more Hare Krishna. What are you going to do about that? You take more shelter of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. In that way, you're using Maya as impetus to come closer to Krishna. Because gradually, in the very advanced stage, Maya, instead of being illusion, becomes mercy. Let's say you're walking down the street in your neighborhood, and some little dog starts chasing you, biting at your heels. Go faster! So you wind up getting to your destination quicker. So we have to be practical about what it means to have a material body in the material world. It means contamination. It means dirt. But stick with the cleansing process. Don't be ashamed to cry out to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. Don't be too proud to beg, oh Krishna, I can't handle this on my own. You're right. You can't handle it on your own. Take shelter of Chaitanya Vaidya, Lord Chaitanya, the supreme physician. In the association of devotees, we'll be inspired to push on. Otherwise, on our own, we could become very discouraged. So you all need each other. Mm-hmm. All right. Very nice questions, thank you. So I hope you have a wonderful time at Gitanagari. Come again and again.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Anything else after this?
One last question.
All right.
Maharaj, can you?
You have no prasad?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
You're leaving before prasad?
I have to leave.
Oh,
I come here, I try to come here often.
very good.
So, not very often, not that I try to come as often as I can.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maharaj, can you just share one pastime of Srila Prabhupada which happened here, which you actually, was the audience of it?
One devotee was telling me today, he first came here in 1966. He was telling us a story about how he was, back then all the young people were taking LSD, most of them. And so Prabhupada was giving class, sitting right here and giving class. Right? And this person, later he became a devotee, but years later, but he was visiting in 1966 and he came in and he, as he describes it, as he walked in, he felt the floor vibrating and the walls were moving. And so he sat down right in front of Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada asked him, Lon, Prabhupada knew his name, have you been taking LSD? And he thought about it. And he replied, no, because he thought he was telling the truth. I hadn't taken it for 2 days, so that means I hadn't taken it. Prabhupada, he had to deal with all these things, these crazy young people and try to transform them into saintly persons. So yes, that happened right here. This is the first ISKCON center, the first Hare Krishna place. So then, after Prabhupada developed a group of Western devotees, then he took them to India and said to the Indians, just see, if they can do it, so can you. Because the Indians were astonished. Oh my God, what is this? We've never seen this before. Western sadhus. This is called the pizza strategy. You know about pizza?
Pizza.
Pizza. You've had pizza, yes? Pizza in Italy, in the beginning of the 20th century, pizza was considered low-class food. No rich persons would eat pizza. No prosperous persons would eat pizza. It was just considered for the laborers, low class. Then someone had the idea, let us take pizza to the USA, especially in New York. There were many Italians in New York. So pizzerias, pizza places opened in New York. And all the Americans went wild over pizza. Maybe you remember when pizza first came to Ukraine? Before your time. So, it became the most popular food in the USA. Still is now. Most popular food. So then what happened? what happened was pizza was reintroduced into Italy as a great food. And now in Italy, everyone eats pizza.
Great American.
So this is what Prabhupada did with bhakti. No one was taking him seriously in India in the 1950s. He went to so many aristocratic families who have the tradition of Krishna and bhakti, but they're all interested in industry, commerce, like that. So he came to America and Europe and developed a big following, and then he brought them back to India. So he reintroduced bhakti back to India. So then it was, oh, now we see, this is our thing. Just like the Italians realized, pizza is ours. So it's a very brilliant strategy. Why are all these Americans and Europeans now, people from Russia, Ukraine, why are they all chanting Hare Krishna? Maybe we missed something here in India. Now, bhakti is booming in India. So these are strategies. So yes, Prabhupada began here with a small group. And from here, bhakti spread all over the world. Just from this little storefront. All right. Hare Krishna.